Whether it's Trunks, Gogeta, or new Broly, get all your Dragon Ball Figuarts at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description down below. Dragon Ball, Pokemon, Kaiju, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hey there, collectors, it is Steven here, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball review, where this time we are going to be taking a look at the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Super Future Trunks. Woo, it's a little bit of a mouthful, but it is one of everyone's favorite Saiyans, finally getting another release in the SH Figuarts line that is going to be in more of his, traditional appearance, where he's from the future, and he's got a sword, and all of that fun stuff. Now, this release is awesome because it harkens back to the original Trunks release, where he comes with a Super Saiyan head, and a whole bunch of accessories. But is this release even close to the same quality as some of the previous released Figuarts in the line? Ooh, we're mixed. Let's take a look to see whether or not Trunks is worth adding into your collection. When we get down to the nitty-gritty for Trunks' looks, he actually does look pretty good. The sculpt is very nice, and it compensates for the articulation in a way that, well, to be honest with you, everything flows naturally. And the paint applications on this guy, not too bad either. There are only two consistent issues from figure to figure to figure that I've seen that I do want to touch on for this release. And, I got a quality control issue. Of course, it's me. It's a meme. It's got to happen. So, yeah. Let's just go ahead and take a nice close look at Trunks now, where we're going to take a look at his default face on his blue-haired head. Yeah, not purple. How did, I don't know, he dye his hair or something? Yeah. Anyway, so Trunks' default faceplate, overall, the actual application of everything looks nice. There is a mix of paint in with the decals for the eyebrows, to be specific, so that's pretty cool. But, let's look at his face straight on. Yeah, his well, have you seen it yet? Yeah, his left eyeball is farther up in the decal than the right one. Yeah, his eyes aren't level. Yeah, they are on all the other faceplates. Good job, Bandai. Anyway, there's actually slight, ever so small shading for the hair. Pretty cool. Not really noticeable too much unless you're really looking for it. But for the rest of the figure, he is looking very nice. His red ascot, bandana, I don't know, whatever you would call it, is actually painted really well. It's blue plastic there. You'll going to see a little bit more of this in a little bit, so just take my word for it right now. The gold buttons on his torso for the pockets and for buttoning up his jacket, those are nicely applied. Just a small issue on mine. There's a little extra streak, not a big deal. And the green undershirt, nicely painted as well. Right arm looks fine, and when we go over to the left, he actually has a tattered sleeve. Mine had a bubble in the paint for the Capsule Corp logo. Yeah, it's actually pretty noticeable, too. It's not one of those things that could have just easily slipped by on quality control. Clearly, somebody just didn't care for this. Now, the next big issue that is consistent from figure to figure alongside the eyes is it looks like around his pelvis area, the shading on the pants, it just kind of stops, and then it really kicks in. A humongous, really harsh gradient change. Some are going to be upset with it, some aren't, but it's worth noting. Anyway, the sculpt for the pants looks perfectly fine. Really nicely detailed here. Looks baggy. And then when we get down to the boots, very cool. Overall, Trunks looks nice. He does have two issues, which I have noted from figure to figure. And of course, quality control issues may vary from unit to unit. But at the end of the day, Trunks actually does look pretty good. There is an accessory, though, which does not. So yeah, Trunks does look pretty good. A couple of quality control issues, like I mentioned. But the articulation on this guy is exactly where it's at. All Dragon Ball Figuarts should have this standard. What are we talking about? Well, we have the typical Dragon Ball Figuarts style neck configuration here, where the head is on a ball joint. There is a hinge there that allows you to move the head forward and back, and then there's a swivel. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Right. So Trunks, where the head plugs in, is great. Then there is the neck, which plugs into the body on a ball joint. Unfortunately, it's very loose on mine. This makes head swapping a little bit difficult, but not overly so much that it's a huge drawback. It's just kind of frustrating. But yeah, Trunks can look around in a whole bunch of different directions. The only problem is for the base form head, he can't look up too far, but he can definitely look down. For the Super Saiyan head sculpt, it's kind of not the same thing because, as you can see, it looks like he has a bit more clearance on the Super Saiyan head sculpt. But anyway, we'll take a look at that later. Now, for the shoulders, this is really cool. First and foremost, we have a butterfly hinge that allows you to move Trunks' shoulders in and out, right? Then we do have the typical ball joint, allows you to spin his arms around. Then we have a hinge to raise and lower his arms. Thanks to the way that they sculpted his torso, there's nothing blocking any of the range of movement for his shoulders. So you have free range of movement here with nothing to block him. Perfect for a swordsman. Almost on par with the Figma Twilight Princess Link. That is awesome. If you have that figure, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But what makes this even better is we have an independent bicep swivel, which actually blends in really well with the sculpt, and this is awesome for a swordsman once again. As you can clearly see, we have a double hinge elbow system here, which is great. Then for the wrists, the same style wrist joints that we all know and love, ball, hinge, and swivel. So this way you can move the hands in all sorts of different directions as long as you have just a little bit of patience and creativity. Now for the torso, we do have an ab crunch, which can rock around in all sorts of different directions. That far forward, that far back. Do keep in mind this gold button here. You don't want to scrape off the paint. We do have a waist joint as well, which allows Trunks to twist and turn from side to side. Again, perfect for dynamic movement when he's using the sword. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We could twist and turn him all the way around if we wanted. Yep. Hips, Figuarts style 2.0, so we do have a swivel that allows him to move his legs forward, that far, back, that far, out, that far. Then we have a thigh swivel, which if you turn, you get a little bit more movement there, which is awesome. Double knee hinge, great range of movement. We do have the standard ankles for Figuarts with a fantastic ankle rocker. Again, great for a swordsman. The toe hinge is a little weird. It's kind of stuck on mine, but you get about that much movement out of it. So all in all, Trunks, fantastic figure in terms of articulation. If you can basically think of a pose, you're going to be able to get it. The only downside is he can't look up too far. That's it. To be honest, everything else considered, quick sort of action-y pose. Yeah, I guess I can take it. Okay, it's time for accessories, and we're going to have to go through these as fast and as efficiently as possible, so this way I'm not boring you guys too much. All right. What does Trunks all come with? He comes with another faceplate for his base form head. He comes with the Super Saiyan head. He comes with 3 sets of hands, and he comes with another hand for his left arm. He comes with 2 different types of swords, the sheath, the Gallic gun effect part, the Sword of Hope effect part, or the Spirit Sword, and a stand for the sword effect part. Whew, that's a lot. Let's go ahead and take a look at everything. So Trunks comes with another faceplate for his default head. It's where he is yelling, and to be honest with you, it's also a horse face. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Super Saiyan head sculpt, and to be honest with you, it actually looks pretty nice. Sculpted detail on the back is actually pretty good as well. So the default faceplate for the Super Saiyan head is where he's yelling. He's in rage. Not rage mode. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And the other faceplate is where he's looking off to the right-hand side. Yes, they were able to do it correctly in this release, but not Majin Vegeta. Throwing some shade there. Now, the way that you go ahead and swap out the faceplates is you just simply remove the front hair part, pop the faceplate off, pop the new one on, and then replace the front hair part. Easy enough if you've had a few Figuarts, but there are some out there who don't know that. Now to go ahead and swap out the heads, all you have to do is just grab the currently attached head, pop it off, line up the joint with the hole in the new head, and pop it on. Be careful, my joints are loose. It makes this a bit difficult to do. Now when we get to the hand parts, Trunks comes with a unique left hand part to make it look like he's just kind of using it when he's using his sword. He also comes with a set of hands, so this way it makes it look like he's using an attack, whether or not it's Burning Attack, Masenko, or another one. So this is pretty cool. These are splayed hands. He also comes with a set of hands, so this way he can hold his swords, whether or not you're going to use both hands on the sword at once or just use one hand to hold the sword. We'll take a closer look at the sword in just a minute. He also comes with a set of hands, so this way he can use the Gallic gun effect part that he comes with. And this is pretty cool. Now we're going to take a look at the Gallic gun because it's the first time we're getting a Gallic gun release. That's right. We've had a few Vegetas, we've had a few other Trunks releases, and this is the first time we're getting a Gallic gun. In 2018, the line's been going since 2011. Good job, Bandai. And when they do it, they manage to screw it up. Why? There is a peg in the Gallic gun effect part that plugs into the hole on Trunks' hand. That's right, Trunks is the only one who can use the Gallic gun unless you're going to use some sort of external altering method to one of your Vegeta Figuarts. Good job, Bandai. Good job. So yeah, the Gallic gun is cool, but Trunks is going to be the only one who can use it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the swords, but before we do that, let's take a look at the sheath. It's actually really easy to attach. All you're going to have to do, according to Bandai's instructions, is remove the head, then you can actually remove that ascot part. Do keep in mind, it's not just the ascot, it's a little bit of Trunks' jacket as well. There is a hole in the back of Trunks, and there's a peg in the sheath. Plug that in, then take the strap, wrap it around Trunks, and plug it back in the sheath. Replace the ascot part, then plug the head back in, and now we're good to go. Taking a look at the sheath up close, the back of it, where, the actual sheath is at, it's pretty cool. But the strap, to be honest with you, a little bit of blotchy silver paint. Meh. The broken sword part actually slides into the sheath, not the full sword. Now, taking a look at the full sword, the green handle, it's pretty simple. Nothing to write home about, but the actual blade in and of itself has a little bit of bubbly paint to it. Personally, I don't mind it too much, simply because it gives it a gritty feel to it, and to be honest, Trunks has had this sword for plenty of years now. It has not been in top condition. Now, for the broken sword effect part, essentially, it's a broken sword, and the tip of it, where the break is, it actually looks a little jagged. Good on Bandai for that. So again, that part goes into the sheath, and it's used for the actual Sword of Hope effect part. Now, the way you get Trunks to hold the sword is you're going to have to pop the pommel off of either part of the sword, complete or broken, and you're just going to have to force it into either hand to get Trunks to hold the sword. Okay? You're going to have to push, use a little bit of effort. Chances are you might slip a time or two. Just be careful and don't break it. Then just pop the pommel back on and you're good to go. Now, taking a look at the Sword of Hope effect part, to be honest with you, it's nothing super impressive. It's just translucent blue plastic, but it's still cool that we get it. And that just slides over the broken sword part. Pretty cool. Only problem is this makes Trunks a little, not easy to balance. Bandai went ahead and circumvented this with a special support stand specifically for the Sword of Hope effect part, and it's only really good for neutral poses. So if you really want to get Trunks in an action pose, you're going to have to learn about center of gravity and how to pose your action figures. So once you figure out how to do that, as you can clearly see in front of you, you're going to be able to get Trunks to spin on a turntable 360 degrees, absolutely no problem. Do keep in mind, though, that Trunks' wrists will get loose over time if you do this, so do it with caution. So all in all, for this release, Trunks is loaded with effect parts and accessories. There are only a couple of issues. First and foremost, like I already pointed out, the Gallic gun effect part, it is only for this Trunks. It is not retrofitted, so this way it can work with Vegeta or anything like that, even though it's one of Vegeta's signature attacks. Right? Yeah. And this release of Trunks, which will probably be the only Dragon Ball Super Trunks release that we get, does not come with a proper Super Saiyan Rage face. That's right. I mean, it was super iconic in the Goku Black arc and the Zamasu arc, and we didn't get it. Yep. I mean, maybe they'll do Figuarts My 5 years down the line when they're using the wireframe bodies they showed at Tamashii Nations a couple years ago, but we're not getting that faceplate. Cool. Yeah. But, all things considered, this is a very nice release, and this is the level of detail all Dragon Ball Figuarts should get. Of course, though, there are other effect parts on the market, and if you really want to spruce up your display, there is a video for you, card popping up in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Now, we've pretty much reached the end of this review, so let's go ahead and do a size comparison with some other figures you just might have, so this way you can gauge the size of this Trunks figure alongside some other figures you just might have, maybe for a fantasy matchup with Mario or Nappa. Yeah, as you can see here, I think Trunks is scaled relatively well. Maybe he could just be a little shorter. Maybe just a hair. But still, he looks good. So, buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. To be honest with you, this guy is about $65, and he's just a little bit more than Gotenks, the previous Dragon Ball Figuarts release. and he is absolutely worth it. Yes, there are a couple of issues in terms of paint, especially on mine, with quality control included, and maybe the accessories weren't executed perfectly, but still at the end of the day, I think this Trunks release is pretty kickin'. And to be honest with you, if they don't go back and do a Dragon Ball Z release of future Trunks, I will be okay with this. But to be honest, I still kind of want that. If you're looking to pick this Trunks up, I would definitely recommend getting him sooner rather than later. He is a P Bandai Web release, so do keep that in mind. Of course, Bluefin has brought this over. You can pick it up at sites like Big Bad Toy Store. So get him today. I like this Trunks. I'd buy him again. Well, folks, that's the end of this review. Thanks for watching, and be sure to follow me on social media to catch more behind-the-scenes shenanigans and updates. The end card should be popping up now with more hand-selected STR goodness for you to watch, so check out some of those videos. Be sure to check the description, too, to see where you can buy this figure or others like it, and some cool links, like the credits for this video, and other ways you can help out the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.